One. Howdy, y'all. I'm KodiakBrick, and I make stuff. My pronouns are he, him, and welcome to Love, Death, or Robots. Also, turn chat back on, because I forgot to fucking do that. Okay. Off to a stronger start than last time, I will say that.
Yeah, we have improved significantly off that.
Indeed.
Anyways, I am also here. I am AvronPlays.
Indeed. Howdy.
Do you want to go over the premise of our show tonight, or should I?
By all means, the reins are yours. I'll add where I feel necessary.
Okay, so basically this is Love, Death, or Robots. We're gonna do some basically short reviews of the animated anthology series Love, Death, and Robots. And at the end of each of our discussions about the episode, we're going to give it a rating of Love, Death, or Robots.
Indeed. Yep, couldn't have said it better myself. I will add, as I'm sure you'd like, if you're viewing this and you haven't seen the show, please go watch that. Like, we will do what we can to not, like, inherently spoil stuff, but this stream, as far as I'm concerned, is very much intended for an audience who has seen the show.
Yeah, we won't, like, completely spoil the episodes, but it's impossible not to at least a little bit spoil an animation that's only a few minutes long. So,
indeed,
I would watch all of these blind. And if you're not familiar with the show at all, it's like I said, a sci-fi-ish anthology series. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, sci-fi adjacent, certainly.
And each episode is like between 10 and 15 minutes, and it covers something completely different because it's an anthology.
Yep. No, and that was something I will say going into this that I did not know when I started watching it, because I went in kind of expecting like a theme.
Oh yeah.
And to find out with episode 2 that it's a compilation by different artists and different animators, was both a jarring like tone shift and a very like welcome palate cleanser. With that, should we hop into the first one?
Yeah. Let's go ahead. Hopefully this works as intended. Perfect. Okay.
Oh, come on. There we go. Yeah, I did the thing.
So, this is episode 1 in the official order. I will mention that I don't know if they do this anymore, but back when it was just the first season when I first watched it, they played you a random episode as your first episode. So don't be confused if these are out of order, because there is no like true order. It's just I'm just going by what was listed on IMDb.
Yeah, and this is more or less the order I watched it in. Mm-hmm. So again, to say that this was like my entrance to this show, followed by the second episode, was just a unique experience, to say the least.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll get more into that when we show off the next episode.
Indeed. So, as far as a show opener, though, because I don't know, like, when in your viewing experience you saw this one.
It was probably towards the middle. I don't really remember.
Okay. Sure.
The next one is actually my first episode.
I see.
by
Okay.
chance.
But obviously, like a very sober, like
Yes, this one's dark.
very like serious, dark entrance to this. A small recap, I guess, for our audience members who haven't seen it or may not remember this one based on the
Yeah.
screenshots. It takes place in kind of like a pseudo. Or do you want to do the description? Sorry.
Oh
I
no,
don't want to take those reins.
it's fine. I just was gonna mention that we will probably do like a explanation of the premise of
Yes.
each episode.
Yep.
Because like I said, it's only a few minutes long, so we can't do like a synopsis without just explaining the episode to you.
Exactly. But this one takes place in kind of like a retro future cyberpunk semi post apocalypse. Like we don't really get a view on the like greater world from my understanding. What we do get is a microcosm in these like chicken fight style or cockfighting style arenas. Really? There it is. Okay, thank you. I was like, really? That didn't get it, but okay, cool. Anyway, so with those kind of or with these fights, it's people that are using these like devices, these like mental connections to
it's like Pacific Rim where they like hook their mind up to the robot, except it's like a biologically engineered like monster creature.
Yeah. There's sort of a mix between nature and machinery
and
that is inherent within these creatures.
We get like a seriously badass fight scene with two of these creatures. That's really good.
No, again, a very strong opening for a series, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, this one's actually my favorite one from season 1.
Hell yeah. But
I guess I should mention, since I just remembered, that we're only covering season 1 tonight. So if you haven't seen the later seasons, don't worry about spoilers for those. We won't go in.
Yep. And if you have seen them, we will get to them eventually. We've got to like put stuff together, and I've technically got to rewatch parts of season 3, because I think those ones were played in random order for me. I would like to go back and watch it as it was intended, and also just get a recap. But so there's a bit of a twist as the creature you see on screen ends up winning, and is hooked to the blue neon tattoo lady.
The titular character.
The titular, indeed. Unnamed glowing lady. I think she's named, actually. It's been a while since I've watched this one.
Well, the episode is called Sonnie's Edge, and she's the titular character, so I think her name might be Sonnie. Just saying.
It might, but is it her name? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hint, hint. Towards the twist that I fucking love.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess that's true, but anyways, yeah. Go on.
Oh, I mean, there's some like shady kind of backrooms dealings.
Oh yeah.
Where somebody wants to buy this creature that this girl is controlling, and she's not really having it.
They wanted her to throw the match.
Oh, that's what it was. That's right. And she didn't. And so they kind of go back again to do the backrooms dealings, and plot twist, they kill her. they, stab tattoo lady via boobid assassin. all I really remember about that was like, ooh, there's lesbian things happening right now. Oh, she's dead. Like that was my exact thought process as it was happening.
Yeah. I guess we should note that there is a fair bit of nudity in this show.
Yes,
For anyone
which
who
you would know
minds.
had you watched it.
Yes.
I know we're teetering this line of like not wanting to spoil too much while also telling people to go watch it.
Yeah. Well, like, I want people who, by happenstance, see our stream,
Sure.
to be able to go, oh, this sounds cool. I'm gonna stop here and go watch it.
Please, yeah, and please do. Because all I will say is that after the, I guess the character Sonnie is killed, you learn what their edge is and why they fight as ferociously as they do. And dude, it was such a fucking tasty plot twist in the other direction. Oh,
Well, this is why I wanted you to watch it before we streamed, Ash, because it's so hard to talk about like a 15-minute thing without spoiling it, without it just being like it was good, you know.
I'm looking at this and she's saying that her favorite was Zima Blue.
Well,
So
I think that was her first episode was what,
oh, gotcha. Okay.
but anyways, I know
Anyway,
I know you did, but that's why I encouraged you so much to do so. Was because I knew we were gonna spoil it uh a little bit. Like I'm not gonna ruin it if I can avoid it. But neither can we like discuss it without kind of getting into it.
right.
But yeah, I really like this one. There's some really good like hyper speed character development where you
Yes.
immediately get that she's like this tough as nails fighter. Like her two friends are like big nerds. They're in it for like the like bioengineering
Right.
and the like antagonist is a rich like British dick.
Yeah, no, there was some excellent like characterization both in uh
Like
kind of how the characters were portrayed and how well they were written, especially in their dialogue with each other.
yeah.
I distinctly remember in this episode that stood out to me was just kind of how well it was all written. And any good twist, you should be able to kind of like go back and watch a second time
Mhm.
and see the seeds of it that you missed.
Oh yeah. That's definitely the case here.
Very much so. It was a well done twist because it was an oh, not a huh.
Yeah. Uh yeah, this one does they're like there are a couple different types of episodes in this show, and one of them is the action type episode. This one does what all of the action episodes should have done.
Okay, what in the Sorry, 1 second. Keep talking though. My music is broken.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's I should have done that. I should have had music. I can still do that. I can fix it.
Okay.
Nope, that's not.
Okay.
Are you having an issue?
It's only playing them one at a time? Which is like not what I want it to do. I want it to play all of them. Why is it not doing that? Okay, what the hell? All right. Elements. Come on.
Cool beat.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. I really should have set this up first. Oh, that's loud. Okay. There we go. All right. All right. Okay. I'm going to pull that down here so I can keep an eye on it. Okay. Close you out. Okay. Good audio, everyone. Good audio. Yay. Nay. Am I still alive? Okay, I'm still alive. I'm so fucking paranoid about this now,
really
man.
paranoid now, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm back.
Yes.
Cool. So anyway, no, if I had to rate this episode, love for such a strong opening to what is ultimately probably one of my favorite animated series of all time. Love.
It's more like the theme of the episode than like a rating.
Fine. Then I guess in that case, death, because that's a pretty heavy theme in this one.
Yeah. I agree.
I'll still give my opinion.
Well, yeah. I want your opinion, but it's not. The Love, Death, or Robots is not about your opinion. It's about what is the episode about?
Okay,
it's
I'm starting to see why you wanted to put the one you put at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. All right, we ready to move on?
Yep. We're ready. The next one is 3 robots.
So, again, I want you to put yourself in my shoes, because the first episode I watch is this exhilarating, dramatic, like, fighting to the death, like, action animated.
Yes.
Followed by this. And I immediately knew I was going to have a great fucking time.
Yeah, pretty much my viewing experience was basically that, but backwards. I don't remember what my second episode was, but I'm like, oh, this is nothing like the first one.
The first episode, yeah.
But I guess I'll do this one since you did the last one. This one is about these trio of robots. One that's like this little guy, one that's like more of a human robot, and then like this like I don't even know how to describe this pyramid-shaped one, but it has
obelisk-shaped, yeah.
It has like
a very like librarian information robot.
Yeah, and it kind of has the same vibe as like GLaDOS.
A little bit.
And a sarcastic female robot. And they basically walk through like a destroyed city after like humans have gone extinct, which you would think would be really dark, but actually it's a comedy because they spend the whole time making fun of humans and like misconstruing their ruins as things that make sense to them but don't really make sense in context.
It's the kind of like we know what that's for, we know what that does, but they take a more humorous spin on like, oh, this device was used for X, Y, or Z, and it's like, no.
Oops. I exited full screen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, how? Forward yet.
It happens.
I am not smart, guys.
Why not have a pot of external acid? Exactly. For anyone in my chat curious, Aaron is also streaming, and I've got his chat pulled up too.
But yeah, there's not a lot to go over because it's really just that simple.
Right.
They just
it does also have kind of a small twist at the end, but it's not a tone shift necessarily.
It's still a humorous twist.
Yes.
But there are a lot of jokes in this episode that really work for me, so I tend to like it.
Yeah. No, again, for coming down from the high that was the first episode into this one it was great. I definitely appreciated like the creativity that went into specifically this one, along with like I guess to give the audience a non like hyper spoiler, I guess, but our lad in the middle with the one missing eye, he's like a descendant of the Xbox.
Yeah, I remember that. All the robots are like, yeah, we our distant ancestors were like this type of machine.
Yeah.
And that just got a big chuckle out of me.
No, and I really like how this one played out. Twist and all, and as they get into the later seasons, they do kind of revisit this world. And not to spoil too much, but I also very much liked that portrayal.
Yeah, it's pretty wild that this is the episode of all episodes that decided to get a sequel.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they kind of recognized at some point that a lot of people watched it on shuffle.
Uh-huh.
But again, I think that what sold me on this series, because I was already hooked by the first episode, but the reason I decided to finish it was this episode, the second one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because given the tone shift, given the excellent writing between both of them, I was just excited to see where this was going. You know, I opened up my mind, I kind of pushed myself back, and I was like, let's just see where this goes. And I was delighted the entire way.
But for the rating, you could probably make an argument for any of them for this one.
Oh, sure.
But I'm gonna go with robots for obvious reasons.
I feel that robots is a safe assumption.
Because it's kind of light, so you could go with love. But it's actually quite dark if you take everything. If you take all the imagery out of context.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we're literally all dead in this one. But
yeah,
the jokes are all about robots and how robots misunderstand humans now that they've never been exposed to them. So I think that's fine.
Yep. No, robots is definitely a good call for this one.
Okay. Are we ready to move on?
I believe so.
So
the Witness.
Next is the Witness. Well, I don't dislike this episode, but it is one of my less favorite ones from season 1.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a hot take or anything.
No, I don't believe so. Again, I went into it as this being my third episode, and so coming into this one with an open mind, I was like, okay, it's weird, but given the writing of the previous two, it's got a reason to be weird.
Yeah.
And I actually spent, and these screenshots are kind of a perfect dissection of this for me. I didn't spend a whole lot of time watching the characters. I was looking at the background.
Yeah. Well,
in pretty much all of these shots.
The funnest part of this episode is the chase.
Yes.
To quickly go over the premise before we get too out in the weeds. This episode is about this woman who looks out of her window and sees this man apparently kill someone. And then she runs for it because she thinks he's coming after her. Right. And so he chases her all over the place.
He chases her kind of all over the place.
The chase is very fun. There's a lot of things going on, like in the background. Definitely a lot of work went into this. And then it kind of like goes into a tangent where, yeah, but she didn't know that. I don't think so, anyway. Anyways, it goes into a tangent where we like go to her work, and she works at like a sexy club or something, and it just felt like an excuse to put nudity in this episode.
Sure.
Which, like, I don't mind.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
I would prefer if that content had a purpose, and it just didn't really in this one.
I'm gonna push back on that, but continue, because I was watching the background.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. Sorry, not to interrupt you.
But he chases her all the way to work, and then all the way back to the apartment building again. And, like, there's just a little weirdness in between that just leaves me, like, tilting my head.
Yeah.
And I also have no idea who these two people are. These are the only two characters in the episode that get more than, like, one line. And I know nothing about either of them.
Yep.
So I don't know. That's my bit.
Okay, so I will to make my point, because I really want to talk about the writing and the background of this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and take it the rest of the way. Again, if you are tuning into this and you have not seen Love, Death, and Robots, please go watch it. Because I'm going to spoil the ending of this one. Because he chases her back to seemingly her apartment, and in the ensuing chaos in the fight, she kills him and looks out the window across the way, and he is across the way looking at her. He now witnessed her killing someone, at which point she begins chasing him. So, it may seem like a surface takeaway, but given the elements, given the way it starts, and given the kind of scenery that we are shown through the episode, I think this is an artist's take on purgatory. Or, at the very least, a kind of cycling punishment of sorts. Given the context of the episode and given a lot of what we see through it, the notion that I got was that these two potentially had either like a one-night relationship or potentially a deeper one. I would definitely have to like go frame by frame to really dissect it to get to that level. But ultimately, these two are locked together in this chase. And the roles feel so, like, perfectly naturally switched, because at first, you know, it's this kind of trench coat, you know, 5 o'clock shadow, misshaven motherfucker that's chasing a woman of the night. But when it's her chasing him, you know, the script doesn't really change all that much. You know, the power dynamics, at the very least, for me, don't change all that much. And it made me curious, because in this screenshot you've selected where she's got the blood on her face from killing him, we can see, like, a lot of childhood drawings of, like, you know, some mature content on the wall. And I was noticing a lot of that specifically in his room. Because that's kind of where this all started, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of agree with Ash a little bit that there is potential that the character witnessing the other, like, themselves being murdered is a, like, total possibility. Whether or not, like, I believe that element of it is definitely left up to the viewer. I feel like if I looked out my apartment window and I saw me getting killed, I'd be pretty freaked out. But yeah, that's kind of my service takeaway, is that this is like a purgatory or a punishment, potentially for, like, different kind of, I guess if you want to get biblical about it, as much as I love doing that. The kind of sin that they found each other through, and whether or not that led to both of their deaths and therefore this cycle, or if this is just kind of a like, wow, violence is violent, who knew, sort of commentary. I can't speak for certain on that. So yeah, The Witness. Definitely death. Not that I didn't like this episode. Again, it was weird, but I did like it.
Like I said, it's a fine episode.
Sure.
I still, even with your rating, don't really care for how much time we spent in like a strip club.
Sure.
When we only have like a couple minutes to do an animation.
Right. Although I think if the like whole thing had been a chase, then it might have been a little boring, but that's just my opinion. So, yeah.
I agree on the rating, though. I think a murder time loop is probably the most obvious incarnation of the death theme.
Sure. Not a lot of robots, unless you count like the AC units we see in the screenshot here.
I'm also gonna count like a focus on technology as a possible way to get robots, since like literally having robots will be not necessarily the most common.
Sure.
Anyways, episode 4, yes?
Yes. Suits. Did you want to give a recap since... Well, we kind of shared the last one, but yeah. Either way.
I mean, we're not taking strict turns. I just stepped up that one.
That's fair. So, this one is farming, like... what is that game on Facebook called? Like Farmingville or whatever?
Farmville?
Farmville, that's the one. This is Farmville meets Titanfall. As much as a writer and as someone who occasionally critiques things, I don't like saying, oh, it's X meets Y, but that's really what's happening here.
Yeah.
Like that's really what's happening here.
Basically, they're like farmers in space. They appear to be in some kind of space colony.
Yep.
But there are also these like Zerg motherfuckers who keep coming onto their farm, so they defend their farms with mechs.
Yep.
And they have kind of a community spirit between them. You know, they don't always like each other the most, but they all acknowledge that they have to be there for each other.
Yep. That the space farming isn't gonna happen because they're being overrun by these fucking bug-ish critters. Because, you know, space alien invaders, it's the thing. But no, they are Hicks in mechs is kind of the what you got.
Very big StarCraft vibes from this one.
Oh, absolutely. No, and I definitely love the left one that you've got, the like quadrupedal one. I cannot get over how they like designed that one to look like a Columbine harvester. And yeah, it's just I don't know. It's action packed. Like it takes kind of a moment to get going.
Yeah.
there's a not twist necessarily, but like there's a big emotional push at the end, which felt earned.
This
to
is
me
another
anyway.
good action episode.
Yes.
There's some good character stuff in here, and then there's some good action stuff with mechs and stuff. So there's a lot to like about this one.
So, robots?
Yeah, robots. I said that robots wouldn't be too common, and here we are with.
And here we are.
So
there are quite a few robot episodes. Although I am excited to talk about some of the.
There are less in the like later 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But I guess we're ready to move on then.
Yep.
The Sucker of Souls.
Oh. I actually don't remember the like entire premise of this one.
Okay. Well, I'll do it then.
I remember a particular part, but by all means, like take it away.
So this professor and like one of his grad students are in Dracula's castle with some mercenaries that they hired to protect them, and they find Dracula's crypt only to find out that the legend is real and they have to escape from Dracula.
Pictured here with the red glowing eye.
Yeah, it's a very interesting take on Dracula, but
I liked it though. I did.
I like it, but it's if I had not told you what it was, people who hadn't seen it would be like, "What?"
What? Yeah. What the hell am I looking at with this like mountain mouth, glowing eye looking motherfucker? No, I totally agree that like, and as with all of these, like watch the episode, get the context. I just needed a refresher there. Yeah, and it's kind of mostly told from the point of view of the mercenaries because if I recall correctly, the professor gets it like quick.
Not the professor, but definitely the other guy.
His assistant, yeah.
The professor mostly does exposition for the mercenaries.
Right.
Because he knows about the myth of Dracula. And he speaks like Romanian or whatever Dracula speaks.
And I will point out, because I know someone's gonna fucking comment on it if I don't point it out. In the upper right with the bloody face where he's pointing the gun, yes, he has his finger on the trigger. I promise in that scene he absolutely has every reason to have his finger on the trigger. In the lower left, where this lady is pointing it up, that's an FNP 90, by the way, for anyone curious. And yes, her finger is on the trigger. It is kind of like a theme of the episode that these mercenaries don't exactly know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I feel like subtle things like that.
I feel like, yes, they are mercenaries, but I don't also think they've been in combat very much. I feel like this is their usual gig, and the fact that anything has happened is a surprise to them.
A shock. Yeah. No, absolutely. But I really did like this episode.
There's a
death all the way, but I did like this episode.
Death is not a negative rating in this chart.
No.
That being said, there are some good laughs. There were a couple of jokes that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
Gary is a treat.
Yep. Gary. And, oh yeah, the other thing I'll comment on. So in the bloody face upper right screenshot, he's holding in a method we call teacup. We don't shoot teacup because teacup does fuck for your accuracy, especially with the semi-auto handgun. If you're using like a 22 LR revolver, fine, but that's about it, right? I have actually seen some very unique wounds from people who shoot teacup. I guess not to get too graphic with it, but one of the ones I saw during like part of my training, they showed us a photograph. I didn't actually see it in person, but to dissuade us from doing teacup, because this lady had drawn, right, and her muzzle crossed the front of her hand, because, you know, as you go up, you cup in the teacup your shooting hand and then start shooting, right? Well, the bullet, because she just, like, it was a fast shooting drill.
Yeah.
And so she just pulled the gun out of the holster and squeezed, and unfortunately, when you're drawing teacup, your offhand does cross the muzzle. And she shot, and it went, like, into her hand below her pinky and exited between her index finger and thumb.
Ooh.
So we don't shoot teacup.
I like how I have 3 screenshots and you find the one that you can critique the firearms handling.
Well, yes. I mean, I don't have much to say about the cat other than its face is not inappropriate for what's going on in that scene.
Well, when I say I like it, I mean I enjoy your rants about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm glad.
Yeah, this is definitely a death episode. Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
We're going a little bit quicker than I thought, but we're going okay, I guess.
Oh, well, no, like I said, I'll break down some of the later episodes, because, woof.
Beyond the Aquila Rift.
This one fucked with me in a very particular way.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say this episode is good, and we're gonna spoil it, because there's no way to talk about it otherwise.
Nope.
So turn the stream off for 20 minutes and come back.
Or if you've already watched the episode, hi, great, welcome. I'm KodiakBrick.
Yes.
Pronouns are he, him, and I make stuff. Welcome to the stream.
Play the intro again.
Damn it, run it again!
So, if you're still here, in this one, some space trucker type characters get launched into FTL through whatever technology they have in this universe. We don't go into it. Yep. It's a 10-15 minute episode. And due to some kind of error, they get launched way the fuck out to who knows where.
Yep.
The main guy, the guy on the right, he wakes up. He finds himself in a space station that he doesn't recognize. But this woman, Greta, appears and explains that they're off course. They try to wake up one of his crewmates, and she freaks out and she's like, "Oh, it's tank sickness. Put her back in."
Her freak out was one of those where I was like, "Huh, that's weird," and then upon like reflection was like, "Oh, oh fuck."
And these two are kind of like old flames. So they hang around for a while. Pretty graphic sex scene happens.
Yeah, that one was kind of just straight up porn. Like
nothing like X-rated, but I definitely think we could have done with some like tasteful fade to black at some point.
Maybe. I do also think like, hey, this show has titties was kind of one of like the major selling points.
I know, but it's distracting when you have so little time to convey the concept of your episode. Mm-hmm. And you spend like a good 2 minutes of it on like some animated titties, which like I appreciate as much as the next guy, probably more.
Yeah. So that begs no, hang on, no, we're stopping this. Are you a tits man or an ass man?
Oh, definitely a tits man.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I mean, I appreciate a nice rear as well, but like definitely gonna go for the former if I if I have the opportunity.
Interesting.
What? Did you have me pegged the other way?
No. I didn't have you pegged as anything. That's why I asked. It's just like I'm the polar opposite. Like I'm an ass man, and like I can appreciate a good pair of like breasts, but for me, like bootylicious, rocking everywhere. Anyway,
what is it about streaming that gets you guys to like out myself?
Well, again, the first time you didn't even necessarily out yourself. I just misheard you and started cackling.
But
for anyone that
you always make me like dig into like my like my tastes in this category.
Sure. I think, okay, if I'm honest about it, I'm a writer, right? I like kind of getting into what it is that people enjoy, what makes people tick. I enjoy that sort of thing.
Yeah, like we've never talked about anything like this before, Ash. maybe I haven't said that specific thing, but anyway.
Also, it's like the most inconsequential thing of like, are you a tits man or an ass man? Who fucking cares? Like,
I know.
As long as it's consensual, fuck it.
I just have conditioning where it's like you're not supposed to say that stuff. But then you're like, I'm just gonna ask him directly, and then I'm like, okay, it's Kodiak, I'll tell him. Oh wait, I'm like literally the whole internet can hear me.
Well, A, you're allowed to tell me no. Like, I'm not gonna die if I don't know the answer. B, again, I just be like that. A question comes to me, I run it through one filter.
It's fine.
Maybe none. And it just goes.
If anything, it's good for me to get out of my shell. But
yeah,
it's weird to me that it keeps coming up.
Uh-huh. Are we noticing a consistent theme? The consistent theme is that Kodiak is a dickhead.
Anyways, it goes on for a bit too long, in my opinion.
Okay, sure.
What I was gonna say is that if that's the kind of content I want to watch, I can just go watch that for free.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people who have already done that.
Right. Okay, now I'm gonna go on this tangent before I forget. I have met one person in my entire lifetime who paid for pornography.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, unequivocally, unabashedly, that they were the freakiest motherfucker I have ever dealt with. Like, the moment they mentioned that, I had this kind of like, no, wait, go on. Like, I want to know more about this. Holy shit, that was a rabbit hole I should not have gone down.
Oh.
It wasn't anything, like, illegal. It was just like, whoa. It was kind of one of those, like, you have to jack off, like, 1,000,000 times before you get to, like, this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, before this is the thing that does it for you. So, yeah, that happened.
But after that, they try to wake up the other lady again, and she freaks out even worse this time and actually attacks Greta, and even gets like a cut on her, only for like main dude, I can't remember his name,
I couldn't tell you.
Only for the main dude to notice that the cut is gone, what I presume to be only a few hours later. And he realizes that maybe his friend's like ranting was correct, and not everything is as it seems.
Right.
That's where I would...
Maybe things are actually weird. And if I recall, that Greta or whoever, like, decides to show him the truth.
Yes.
And, oh boy, that fucked with me. That fucked with me a lot. As I'm sure it did a lot of the audience.
So it turns out that,
oh, I wasn't gonna spoil it, but if you want to, by all means.
I already told you that we were gonna spoil it.
Okay, fair. Go on.
We're like, yeah, this is the thing. Yeah, it turns out that this is not a space station. This is some kind of nest. And Greta is some type of spider alien.
Yeah, like space spider demon thing.
Yeah. The thing I wanted to ask you about in this one, and this might affect your rating,
sure,
is what do you think was going on here? Like, really?
So, from what I recall of it, I genuinely think that the creature, right, the spider demon thing,
yeah,
I think it had good intentions.
Yeah.
Like, you know, these, because the way, like, the warp drive fucked up, like, not only are they, like, gone, like, their ship can't be tracked anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but they're also, like, there's no hope of them returning to civilization, or so we're told by this creature.
Yeah.
Because I think, given how, like, far out in space it is, given, like, the web and all of, like, the other ships and other things that we see in it, similarly, it's kind of one of those things where this episode almost asks, to me, it asks the question, what if life was a simulation? Right? Like, what if, really?
Yeah.
And for this episode, and for myself, I came down on the same answer of, like, even if I knew the truth, like, would I be able to do anything about it? Is there anything I could do to even really change that? Because Greta agrees to show him, and he wakes up in his pod with the broken glass and kind of realizes how horrifying his surroundings are, and he just starts like wailing.
Yeah.
And it's like for him, I don't think there's any going back. Like, it's not gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
So I think it is just this like space entity that is just trying to comfort the like lost souls that end up in its little district of space. Because it's pretty clear from the debris that we see in the ending scene that this is not the first time this has happened.
Oh yeah, I think people get sent here like frequently.
Pretty frequently, yeah.
Like just whenever there's an error, this is where they go to. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think this is an alien creature that legitimately cares for these people. It's like psychic, so it like knows that they're not like a danger or anything.
Right, but it's also not perfect either.
It doesn't have the means to take care of humans or send them home. So it's like projecting this illusion to them until they eventually die of starvation.
Right.
Because it seems
kind of make
seems like that's what's happening, because he's pretty like emaciated.
Yeah. And it's also pretty clear that like, because when we see him and when he wakes up, you know, you see him here, he's got like the 5 o'clock shadow. I know it's longer than a 5 o'clock shadow. But when we see him wake up in the pod to the actual like space demon thing, he's got a really long beard and really long hair. Like an amount of time has passed. Yeah. And so that was what made me reflect on the other crewmate. Was thinking back on the like, oh fuck, did she see that like immediately?
Yeah. I think that like whatever she does to project this illusion, for some reason that other lady is resistant to it. So every time he wakes her up, she's seeing at least part of what is actually going on.
Or this alien is only able to project one at a time, because if I recall, waking her up was his idea.
Yeah. That's possible.
And even like we saw with the scar, with the cut going away with like absolutely no remedy, you know, like the simulation isn't perfect. And if I remember correctly, like she's saying that he can't go back, like she's stalling for a couple of different reasons, and he's starting to get suspicious.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's it is a fascinatingly horrifying episode, though.
They seem to be in this kind of cycle where she's like erasing his memory of the illusion and starting over. And I think she's like honing her craft until she can like finally tell him the truth and he won't freak out too much.
Which is an understandably tricky thing to do. But no, I'm glad you're on the same notion that this is like a benevolent creature. It's trying to make these lost astronauts more comfortable.
Yeah.
At least, you know, as much as they can. So, what's our rating on this one? All
that being said, I'm gonna give it our first love, or my first love, because I think that she legitimately cares about this guy.
Right.
It's just that their circumstances are really dark.
Right, and it's just kind of making the best of its situation and what. Yeah, like it can't offer much, but it is offering it, right? So I concur with that love. Um, I think the only person that dies is like the other crewmate.
Yeah.
Um,
And they even do so off screen if they're
right.
even dead.
So, and then yeah, not a whole lot of robots in this one.
it does have to do with like a lot of like sci-fi technology, but I don't think that's really
Sure.
the main focus.
Right. So yeah, there we have it.
I'm just gonna
Next
type.
one.
I'm gonna type in my chat that spoilers for this episode are over.
Okay, good plan. I'll do the same.
Just in case anyone followed my advice and turned the audio off.
Okay.
Alright. Next episode. Good hunting.
Oh. I loved this episode.
This is a good one.
This was a really good fucking episode.
I think this is the longest episode in the series as well. I could be wrong about that, but it's definitely a longer one.
Yeah, I remember it being a lot longer, but it needed that time.
It needs that
and
time.
it used it very well for what it had. There wasn't any like concepts or themes in this that I felt were meandering.
Yeah.
And as far as the theme of like nature versus machinery / meets machinery,
yeah,
this was well fucking executed.
So just to go over the premise of the episode.
Yeah.
I believe that he's Chinese, and this is all in China. He does move from somewhere in East Asia to Hong Kong, but I don't know enough about the source material to say for certain, and I don't believe they say. I don't know why they would randomly switch countries, but I feel like I'd be putting my foot in my mouth if I didn't at least entertain the possibility.
Sure, and I guess I also put forward that studying history, this one definitely has a lot of elements of like the westernification of Asia.
Yeah, this is definitely inspired by like real life
absolutely.
history. But anyways, it starts with him as a kid, and his dad in the top right or top left, I mean, is a spirit hunter. They're on the trail of a fox spirit. Hey,
it's soon.
Yeah, the non.
I believe. Don't quote me on that.
I think that's the Japanese name for a very similar concept. I think like this is me trying to pretend I know things again, but I think that most countries in that region have a similar like folklore creature / story about like a fox with like magic powers transform. They hunt this fox creature, and in the process he meets the fox spirit's daughter, who kind of like cracks his vision of reality, where humans good, spirits bad, essentially. That, his dad would have put in his head for being a spirit hunter. Uh, and after the hunt is over, spoilers, I guess, it's successful. He still manages to maintain a friendship with the fox spirit's daughter, and kind of goes on to connect with her as he grows older and his own father passes. And then sometime later, modernization comes to the region that they're in, and magic starts to kind of slip away. And he becomes invested in that modernization by becoming an engineer, basically.
It's worth noting this modernization is like 1800s style steampunk.
Yeah, it's like trains and other steampunky type things, and then it like slowly gets more, not more advanced, but more, well, technically more advanced, but not like in our real world, but like in a steampunky way, with like steam driven automaton and stuff. This all causes her to lose her powers, and they both end up in Hong Kong. And then the shit hits the fan, to put it lightly. And then I guess this would be the major spoilers section of this episode, if you want to get into it.
Yeah, sure. I also don't remember a lot of like the finer details from this one.
Well, the gist of it is the fox spirit lady ends up being turned into a cyborg by like this rich dude who has like a machine fetish, a cybernetics fetish.
That's right. Okay.
Which does not end well for him, because it turns out like abusing someone who you've like kitted out with robot parts doesn't end well for you.
Right.
But her new robot parts are kind of gross and fetishy, so she comes back to the engineer, and he modifies her essentially so that she has the same powers that she did before, to transform into a fox, but now using technology instead of magic.
Yep.
And so now she stalks the night, righting the wrongs in a similar way that she suffered. So I think this is our longest recap by far, and for good reason.
Yep. This is another one where I'll say that, like, it, as I remember it, the elements of like his automaton creations, you could always see that he definitely took more of the nature side of it than the machinery. Like this lower left screenshot you've got here, like this golden critter running around is like one of his first, if I remember.
Yeah.
And from there, all of his like machines definitely take on this note of nature, and whether that was inspired by the wrongs he felt his father had done in his childhood, or whether that was just genuinely his passion, I can't say. But what I can say is her coming back to him and being like, here's what I need, and him being like, fucking bet, let's go. It adds up, and I really like how this episode got tied together. Yeah, this episode was definitely not apologizing for the white man. You know,
Sure.
Bruce and Shafton, I believe it was inspired by furries. In fact, I'm fairly confident this entire series was in part made by furries.
But, oh yeah.
What a fucking song to come on right as I drop that. Anyway.
But, yep, I agree. I really like this one. Like I said, if you know a little bit about history, especially the history of Hong Kong, you'll see a lot of kind of where they're coming from and where they're going.
Foos and Shafton, my moral panic is stored in the balls.
I don't know what that means.
Don't worry about it. Let's move on. We gotta rate it.
Yeah. I know what I'm gonna rate it, but I'm curious to see what your rating is.
So, at first, like before I remembered like the elements of the story, I was leaning towards robots. But as I recalled, and as like this, the recap went, I'm definitely leaning towards love. I think that was kind of one of the more important elements, especially in like breaking, like, being better than the people who came before you, growing past his father's just blind hatred of the supernatural.
Yeah, like I definitely think there's a parallel there where one of her mother's only lines is, "Hey, get away from that human. You know how dangerous they are." So there's definitely some of that on both sides, even though that comment is definitely justified.
No, and I'm not saying that it isn't, but it's still like I kind of put this forward, hi handsome, is that to hate something is to not understand it.
Mm-hmm.
To like willingly not understand it or what it is. Hi Likovish, I don't hate you, not even remotely. I understand a lot of you, huh? Handsome boy. So I put forward that this one for me is love. Mm-hmm. Especially like helping right the wrongs of like the perversion that the westernization brought.
Mm-hmm. I think you make a really good point. That would definitely be my number 2 choice. But I actually like robots better for this one.
Okay.
Because the modernization is a big theme. Sure. Like, both in how it can be good and how it can be bad. Depending on who and how it's wielded.
Yeah.
And there's a robot fox in it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Are we ready to move on?
Yes. Oh, the dump.
The dump.
This one was definitely one of the grosser episodes.
Yeah, it definitely was. I don't like this one a lot. It was fine. It was good.
Yeah.
But there's nothing particularly standout to it for me. But it's about this guy, the guy on the right, who lives in a dump.
Strapping young lad.
And he is being basically forced to give up his dump by this other gentleman.
Who, I can't remember if it says exactly who he works for.
I don't remember exactly who he works for, but it was something about they want the property to build homes on or something.
Yeah.
I watched it and I forgot already.
No worries. I think it, if I recall, it's a stand-in for, I guess if you want to get into the analogy, the unrequited and I guess just forced advance of suburbia.
Yeah. I can definitely see that.
The building of suburbs, whether or not they're needed.
Oh, as he's bringing down the property values of nearby homes, I guess, is what Ash is saying.
That would do it. And how dare a dump lower the property values of the surrounding area.
But instead of complying, he tells the man a story about a monster he found in his dump. And then I guess spoilers, the monster gets him at the end of the story.
The gentleman in the glasses, we should clarify.
Yeah. The dump man made friends with the dump monster, and the dump monster eats the businessman.
Yep.
Which I can get behind, but also this doesn't really inspire me.
Yeah, I mean, it was an entertaining episode. It definitely got real graphic with killing the business guy.
Yeah.
Not that he was a particularly likable character to begin.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So,
well,
rating
that
time?
makes him worse, not better. Yes, rating time.
He's with the law. I'm the law, goddammit.
Death for this one? Death?
Wait, I have one for this. FBI, open up! Yeah, death for sure. Yeah, not a lot of argument from me on that.
All right. I know we didn't talk about this one very much, but are we ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move. I guess I've already gone to the next one.
Oh, okay. Shapeshifters.
For starters, proud of my man in the lower left corner with that trigger discipline. Thank you, boss.
Nice.
Yep.
So do you want to get into this one?
I loved this one. for a myriad of different reasons.
Okay.
So, you're about to see, like, my military aficionado, as much as that's a fucking thing, and my furriness come out at the same time, and
oh yeah,
it might
I
get
should have
messy,
known.
so strap in. I fucking love this take on werewolves. And I guess to give you the story, this basically covers like a hypothetical war in Iraq where werewolves are a thing. I think they call them like dog soldiers or something like that, as kind of like a derogatory.
Yeah, I think it's just a nickname though. Like,
yeah,
it's just what the soldiers call them.
Right. But, you know, basically, like, they're not issued boots, they're given, like, vests, and, like, radios and all. You know, we see him in the upper right corner with the vest and the radio. But they're just, like, barefoot and kind of, you know, walking around looking like some particularly hairy lads.
Yeah.
Our opening scene is a convoy moving through the sandbox, as you do. And they come under sniper fire. And our boy, the werewolf, is able to, like, pin down where the actual sniper is so that the convoy can take him out. God damn it, Jared. So, you know, we are shown that there are these two lads. They're, I don't know if they're brothers. I don't remember exactly, but they're definitely like close.
Yeah, they're either brothers or they're really good bros, dude.
Bros, dude, in the Marines, bro. A totally necessary branch of the military, bro. I say as a fucking civilian. Moving swiftly along. There comes like an order down from the chain of command because it turns out that the freedom fighters operating in the local area may also have some werewolves in their midst. So, werewolves are fucking scary because, again, we see our lad in the upper right corner that's able to, like, suss out where the sniper is, but also, like, they have superhuman speed, superhuman strength, even, like, without being in werewolf form. And again, they're seen as kind of a derogatory by, like, the other soldiers because it's like, oh, you fucking dogs, you're better than us? You think you're better than us? You're not, when, like, really they are in every conceivable way.
There's very much this vibe that they want to use them for their obscene werewolf powers. They don't want to give them any respect for the work they put in either.
Precisely. So, you know, that's kind of interesting in and of itself, but they take these two werewolf, you know, bros, and they're like, all right, we need one of you to, like, stay here, and we're sending the other of you down to this other FOB, or forward operating base. And they're like, what the fuck, man? Like, we work better as a team. And it's like, nah, we need our, like, super dog soldier here and another super dog soldier over there. Mm-hmm. Shock and awe, night falls, and it is chaos at the other, like, forward operating base. Like, they lose radio contact, there's just explosions and gunfire and screaming. And main werewolf dude runs down and is like, oh fuck, you know, all my buddies have been fucked up, but his bro has also been uniquely fucked up because it turns out the only thing that can kill a werewolf is another werewolf. And, yeah, the freedom fighters in the area have some fucking werewolves. So, it ends in this kind of night battle you see a depiction of in the lower right corner here, where, they go to face down under the moonlight, because I guess that's another adaptation I like. The werewolfness is not necessarily exclusively influenced by the moonlight.
Yeah.
They are more powerful under the moonlight,
At least seemingly.
but they can pretty much take shape whenever, it seems.
Yeah.
And werewolf battle ensues. 2v1 that becomes a 1v1, and then, of course, because we need a criticism of American bravado, as it deserves, even though Werewolf Boy here for the Americans is victorious, he takes the body of his brother and goes AWOL. He leaves the military. Because fuck him.
They're just they just look at him like, he just left. Can you do that? You just left.
Can you just fucking leave? And it's yeah, are you gonna go stop him, Sarge? Are you gonna go look that dog in the face and tell him no? Down, boy, sit? No, you're not. He's fucking gone, Sarge. Let's move on.
If I were doing a video review of this episode, I would definitely do a scene of they're brothers in spirit, Ash. I would definitely do the scene where in human form they're lifting some crazy amount of weights and just cut to that after they're giving this disapproving look while they leave.
And again, what, Sarge? Are you gonna fucking run up there and put a leash on him and bring him back? No, you're not, Sarge.
Yeah,
I'm a fucking civvy, and I know that's a bad idea.
Yeah, I really liked this one.
It was good.
I little known fact, I love werewolves.
Hell yeah.
So
so the truth come out.
The truth come out.
Does Aaron is furry? All right. Well,
I will neither confirm nor deny it this time.
Fair enough. So, death. I think death.
I think
a lot of death.
You could either go death, because it's all about war and revenge, or you could do love for the love of these two bros.
These two bros, these men, these good Christian men have for each other.
Yeah. These nice, deeply connected werewolf bros.
Yeah. They're alphas in a pack. The pack of two, and they both get to be alpha, because that's how it works in their pack. Baby. I see what you're saying, but also, have you considered death? There is a lot of death.
I think death is stronger. I'm just saying that it's not the only way you could go with it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. Under no circumstances get me wrong. I'm all about the werewolves. But death.
That's what we're here for, Ash. Oh, I also just want to mention that this is a super cool concept, and if someone wanted to do a whole series about this, I think that would be a good idea. And you're allowed to take that idea. I don't think Love, Death, and Robots own exclusive rights to this idea.
No, and I will put forward, in fairness, a lot of the stories in Love, Death, and Robots are taken from other stories. Like, that a lot of them are just retellings. Like, not everything in this series is original.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely. I would love to see an expansion on this idea as well. I definitely liked it for like the sliver that it was, the peak into what, a war in Iraq with werewolves would look like. But I agree. I would like to see a lot more of this.
Anyways, I guess we're ready to move on.
Yes.
Now we have a helping hand. You'll notice I didn't make a collage for this one.
I'm gonna curl up into a ball for this one.
Yeah. This one is hard to watch.
Yeah. Again, I had this moment of like, because I was looking through your collage earlier, checking each of the episodes and like giving myself little notes and like things I wanted to talk about while I was working. And I came across this one and I was like, I don't remember what happens in this one. So I ended up looking up a plot synopsis. And yeah, I don't remember what happens in this one because I fucking suppressed the like sheer anxiety that this one brought to me. Because I guess I'll put this forward. For all of the animations, for all of like the elements, for all of the different stories that were told through the entire series, this one felt the most like something that would happen to me. Like something that was plausible, a situation I could find myself in. And I guess I add with that, I am an empath to a degree. I have difficulty watching movies like Saw because there hits a point where my brain is like, our nerves have the capability of simulating what that feels like. And I go, please don't. And it proceeds to go, yeah, a bit late for that. We're already doing it. So this one, yeah, I could feel this episode as it was happening.
So yeah, I guess to get into it,
yeah,
this woman here is a astronaut, and she's doing a spacewalk all by her lonesome, and then an accident happens, and she ends up tumbling through space without any way to get back to her spacecraft. In the episode, the non-spoiler version is the episode is about what she has to sacrifice to get back to survive.
Yep. Yeah, the dog chewing off its own, or the fox chewing off its own leg to survive, kind of vibes.
Yeah. But yeah, if you are squeamish or you have a hard time doing things like Kodiak described, this one might not be a good one for you.
No. Do you know what this one made me think a lot of too? And it was like the first time I really remember having an anxiety attack while watching a movie.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever see Gravity?
No,
Oh,
I remember wanting to go see it, but I never did.
no. Okay. Watch Gravity because it is the lighter version of this episode. Or yeah, the lighter version of this episode, I think, is a safe way to put it.
Gotcha.
So if you're a masochist and you crave that sort of thing, watch this, then watch Gravity, then go sign up to be part of NASA because fuck.
Yeah.
This one's tricky to rate though.
Yeah, it
At least
is.
within our dichotomy. I guess if I had to, love out of the notion of like self-preservation.
Yeah, I say that she has a new love of life now.
Yeah, that's a gentle way of putting it. Oh, fuck.
That's how they pick astronauts. What? You mean you can't watch A Helping Hand and then Gravity and then go sign up to be an astronaut?
It's
That's not
what Cucker Tarlson lied to me.
But yeah.
All right. Should we move on?
Yeah, I guess so.
Or do you have anything else?
No, this one's pretty simple.
Cool. All right.
Fish Night.
Oh, this one. Yeah.
Do you want to do this one?
So, from what I remember of it, and it's worth noting, I've been stranded like this before.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one sort of played on like a unique like experience I had. Obviously not the fucking glowing fish part. I've had that in other places, but not while stranded in the desert.
Oh, do tell.
Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But yeah, so these two guys, business partners from my recollection, are traveling and they break down.
Yes.
They're able to like call for help, but it's gonna be like a day or two before it gets there.
Yeah.
So they have to just kind of sit with the car. And obviously it's fucking hot. It's the desert. They've only got so much water between them because they weren't anticipating breaking down in the middle of the fucking desert.
Yep.
And as night falls, they talk about how this area used to be a lake way back in the time of the dinosaurs.
Yeah, the North American Interior Seaway. Yep.
So, which I believe at some point was connected to Bonneville Lake. I could also be wrong. But yeah, as the night goes, and they're kind of delirious from the lack of water, and contrary to what people would think, like I don't know how many people actually know this, if you don't live in this kind or haven't experienced this kind of deserty area, it gets fucking cold at night.
True.
All of the sort of things that keep the heat near the ground, such as trees, houses, all the fixins of, places that are typically seen as colder or more moderate, are entirely gone in the desert. So nights can get freezing. And so these two, having experienced the like searing heat and getting into the coolness of the night, start to think about like the cool water and then these ghost fish start showing up and swimming around, and then they're able to join in on the swimming. But one of them doesn't listen and kind of gets carried away. And yeah, I won't spoil beyond that, because I definitely think this is an episode that is best experienced through a blind watch. And if you've already seen it, you obviously know what happens. There's not much for me to add.
Fair.
This one did definitely because I have thalassophobia. It's well documented. And through that thalassophobia, this was an interesting concept of fish and creatures that are waterborne, where you can see the bottom, where you can see the thing like coming after you. But still kind of having to grapple with that we, bipedal bastards aren't really meant for the water. We can kind of limp it, so to speak, but we're definitely not the apex in the ocean. We'll go ahead and ignore all the global warming and overfishing and all the other societal issues. And I'll continue to say that, yeah, we are not exactly the apex in the ocean. Not by a long shot.
When we're not cheating with boats.
Right. Dumping just all of the microplastics in there. One thing I will say, when this episode kind of first started, for half a moment, I thought it was potentially done by the same people who made Archer.
Oh, yeah.
Because the animation and like the cell shading were very similar. But as the episode went on, it became clear that it was not.
Fair enough. I haven't seen Archers.
I recommend it. I definitely feel like there would be some points that, or some gags that you would appreciate. One of my favorite lines still being, "I'm spooning a 50 cal. I could kill a building."
Yeah. So, rating wise.
Yeah. Again, not to spoil anything, but I kind of gotta say death.
Well, I mean, it's about ghost fish.
Yeah. In an ancient ocean and the unruly food chain of said ocean.
I feel like ghosts are a pretty good death signifier.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving right along.
Indeed. Shall we?
Lucky 13.
I fuck it. Like, outside of the first episode, this was one of my favorites.
This is a good one.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to do the plot synopsis?
Yeah, I can do that. So this lady in the upper left corner is a new pilot in some kind of futuristic military. We don't get a whole lot of details on that. And she's assigned ship number 13, nicknamed Lucky 13. The ship came back on its own without its crew. It's unclear if they recovered it or if like the pilot survived.
Well, I think if I remember correctly, this happened a couple of times
Yeah.
where like the entire crew got killed.
Yeah.
Um, and the ship, having like a sort of mild autopilot, was able to bring itself back.
Yeah. So this ship is considered bad luck. It's the unlucky number. It has an unlucky history. Its like serial number is 1302 313.
Yep.
So it both ends and begins in 13, and the digits add up to 13.
Yep.
It's basically considered a death trap. But she goes out in this ship, and what she finds out is that it's actually really lucky for her, because she goes on a mission. Mission goes south real quick. They're the only ones that make it back. Her and the people that they picked up in the ship. The other ships get taken out. She does this over and over again, basically, where they come through these like horrible odds, to the point where they offer her a new, better, more advanced ship, and she's just like, no.
Yep.
So it's really about the bond between this spaceship and the pilot. And then I guess to get into the spoiler section, it seems like the ship's autopilot has somehow gained sentience, at least to a degree. Because we keep seeing like its perspective, like through the ship's camera, and it's like guiding her, like with ship sensors, in a way that like it wouldn't be able to do if it didn't know what it was doing.
Yep. And this is like, I guess for brevity, this is like a transport drop ship with like some guns on it. It's absolutely meant for like, get your troops as close to the front line as possible and then like get out.
Yeah.
Mild rescue missions. This isn't a stay and fight kind of vehicle.
Right. This is like the Pelican from Halo.
Precisely. I fucking love the concept of this episode. And the way that they kind of portray the odds that it goes up against.
Yeah.
Because like we don't know much about the conflict that's going on. We really aren't given.
We basically know nothing other than there is a conflict, and we are on the one side at the moment.
Indeed. And yeah, so the Lucky 13, they get called to like rescue like a special forces unit or something to that effect. And the LZ, the landing zone, becomes hot, which is to say that the people on the ground are attacked, and the people that are attacking are also a threat to the aircraft.
Yeah.
And the other two dropships that come in, if I remember correctly, they're like, fuck this, like we're abandoning the lads.
They try to leave early without everybody so that they don't get shot down, and they still get shot down.
Right, because a couple of jets come in, and the worst possible thing for these sorts of gunships and carrying ships are jets. Like, they just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, they're not maneuverable enough to avoid them.
Right. So, however, this pilot and Lucky 13 are able to maneuver this kind of mushroom forest and sort of get the jets to crash, and then they're able to leave. I don't know if we want to spoil the ending of this one, because I'll be honest, I teared up a little bit at the end of
Yeah.
this one.
It was pretty emotional, honestly.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you uh haven't seen it and uh you've been paying attention till now, you're probably confused how that could possibly be, but
Yep.
yeah, it really is. This is one I don't particularly want to spoil.
I'm right there with you.
Uh,
Outside of just saying that, yeah, I really liked how it ended, but it was an emotional ending.
what
Um,
what do we watch movies for?
right? So, robots?
I think this one has to either be love or robots.
Yep.
Uh,
I'm leaning. I agree on love to a certain extent, but definitely robots, given that the episode is named after the robot.
yeah, that's fair enough.
So, yeah.
Ash
Shall we?
disagrees.
Okay. Oh,
That's why we do it.
indeed.
Uh,
I have moved on.
you moron. You're right, but
Yeah, I won't disagree that we're idiots, but I definitely think the episode had a stronger theme of the robot than it did. Like, sure, they shared companionship, but like that was kind of one way.
Mm, oh well. We're moving on.
Indeed.
Zima Blue.
Oh, this fucking episode.
Yeah.
I really liked the scale
Yeah.
of this episode.
There is definitely a scale.
um I just love the way that this one also, like, God, I'm getting all like flustered thinking about this episode. Um so you're a reporter, right? And you get an exclusive interview with arguably one of the most famous artists in the galaxy, as you become kind of like a ghost writer for him, talking about not just his art but his origins, like easily the most mysterious part of this man, only to slowly piece together that he's not a man, and that his art, the things that he creates, the things that he, like, this motherfucker modifies entire star systems to be art pieces. You know, entire horizons, landscapes, the sheer scale that this motherfucker is modifying things, all chasing after a particular color. And the only way for him to find it is to go back to his origins, to go back to what he was, where it all began. And I fucking love how this episode was executed. I mean, I know that was sort of like a more poetic kind of plot synopsis, but you're welcome to take a straight one if you'd like.
I don't know. I don't. I don't want to like
fair,
rain
fair
rain
enough.
on your your parade with
It's no
literalism.
no parade to be rained on. I assure you. I just I don't know. Felt I guess mildly inspired by just a very well written premise. Um, this is another one I haven't looked into a whole lot. Just outside because if it is based on something, I would be curious to look into it. But I know
Hmm.
that no matter like what it is that this is based on, I'll keep coming back to this.
Yeah, fair. This one kind of haunts.
Oh,
Oh, see, I see it as this robot searching for meaning. He's blowing up bigger and bigger art pieces trying to find meaning, and then
God fucking damn it, Jared. Sorry.
basically commits robo suicide to get it back.
I I see where you're coming from, but I also have to like before I address anything or not necessarily push back because I see where you're coming from. Um, I have to address and congratulate Fusenschaften in the chat, who just beat Fortnite. So congratulations. I hope the credits are a good time for you. Um, that being said, I, I don't know if Robo suicide is necessarily the terminology I would use because yes, he sheds what he became. Ooh, we got a bot! Yay! Um, yeah, good times. Um, those are just going to be baked into the experience, aren't they? Cool. All right, thanks, chat. Um, so I think when you grow, when you take on things as an artist, you learn how to do new things. Those become part of you to a degree, right? And I think a lot of artists eventually kind of reach a point where you're not able to uh or like you kind of lose sight of what it was that you were creating for in the beginning, the whole reason you started. And I believe this is a story of an artist in a way going back to that, returning, even though it's not as grand in scale, even though it doesn't move entire star systems, it's still exactly what they needed as a creator.
Okay. Yes. It's a metaphor for going back to basics and enjoying the simple things that you liked at the beginning. But what's literally happening is this man has decided he can no longer function as an adult and he needs to lobotomize himself so he can go back to enjoying macaroni art.
But macaroni art is fucking amazing. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, have fun picking out your ice pick then.
So,
So,
okay, there we go. Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to get rid of the fucking spam in my chat. Cool. I think I figured it out. Awesome. No, this like I cried during this episode for sure. This one moved me in a way that I don't think is, I guess, a terribly unique experience. Yeah, I don't know if I have much more to add than that.
yeah. Fair.
so hostile. Sorry, just reading lithium batteries message. But
Lithuania has just been trolling me the entire stream.
This entire stream. I think every stream you have is just lasagna bullying you from the sidelines.
That has some truth to it, yeah.
um, I am gonna rate this one love for me.
I think there's a strong argument for any of them for this one.
Oh, sure. No, I can absolutely see death and I can absolutely see robots, but yeah, I guess as penance, if you will, for my indictment of Lucky 13, I will call this one love.
Yeah, you do it out of love. Love of doing it.
That's gonna hit me. That's fucking funny. Oh, well, shall we?
Yes.
Cool.
Blind spot.
This one was kind of weak for me, honestly.
Yeah, so I think this is a really good animation.
Yes.
But the story isn't up to the same caliber as the others. Or at
Right.
least
I mean,
most of the
Borderlands 4
others.
looks amazing, I'll tell you what.
I was detecting more of a Mega Man Legends thing.
Okay, I can see it. I can see it.
But uh this one is kind of what I was referring to when I said they're one of the like 3 or 4 types of episodes there are in this show. One of them is action episodes, and that they should all strive to be as good as Sonny's Edge.
Yes.
This is the one that I was thinking of when I said that.
That they all should
Yeah.
strive to be that good, yeah.
So this is a fun ride. It's a good like 10-minute, basically a train heist, but without the train. It's a truck instead. Uh, but it doesn't do much beyond that. I don't know any of these characters afterwards.
Right.
It's about this like basically this gang of robots. They might be mercenaries, and they're trying to steal this thing from a convoy. They all end up getting smushed except the rookie. And then it turns out that uh, they didn't get smushed because they're robots and they have backups.
Yep. No, I absolutely agree with Lysol that like the ending just kind of invalidated any sort of emotional impact.
Yeah. It
Um,
it makes sense, but it also like definitely hurts the episode from an emotional angle.
sure.
Uh so yeah, it's fun. I'm glad that I watched it, but it's not one that I relish the opportunity to return to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, worth a watch the first time, but kind of if I go back and watch Love, Death, and Robots, I'm probably going to skip this one.
Uh, so I'm gonna rate it robots.
I think, yeah, someone in my chat also is like, yeah, I fell asleep through this one. I'm like, yeah, yep. I, I, it's hard for me to fall asleep during shows, but I can absolutely understand where they're coming from. Um, yeah,
Robots.
robots, lots of robots in this one.
The Ice Age.
I I really liked this one. This one was uniquely fun.
Yeah. Uh, I think this one is another an example of how to do one of the other types of episodes really well, which is just take a cool sci-fi premise and just execute that premise really well.
Yeah.
We uh we don't get a lot of complicated stuff here. There's not a lot of story being told. It's just like what if what if this couple had a civilization that moves faster in their freezer and they just watched it for an evening.
Right. And I do also appreciate, especially with this screenshot that you've picked here at the top, where these two construction workers are looking up at them because time is happening on different scales
Uh-huh.
for each of them. So, for anyone who hasn't seen this episode, this couple kind of watches all of human history like play out in the freezer of the new house they just bought. Um, worth noting, the new house they bought is shockingly furnished, at least to every like new house I've ever moved into. But yeah, there's this kind of weird old school freezer, and they open it up, and one of the first clues that like something is weird is they find like a mammoth in an ice cube depicted, in the lower right. So they watch the entirety of human history play out, but because the time scale is different for the humans that are down yonder, what they see is just years and years and years of this still like couple like staring down at them.
Just like very, 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 very slowly moving their lips as they like chatter to each other.
They're about what's going on in there.
Because like any like word they would say, it would take like years, if not like decades, for like the lip movement to register as having shifted. Like the movement of the tectonic plates.
Exactly. Which like makes sense, right? But to the scale of the couple, like these buildings are just going up in like a matter of minutes. They're being constructed like very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this was a fun palate cleanser, like especially after kind of the weak episode that preceded it.
Yeah. I think that's all.
I will note in this bottom screenshot that the reason our gentleman here has his face partially sunburned is part of human history are the nukes. not the ones dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. No, like this little mini civilization nukes itself as like part of a growing war, because that's human nature. I haven't seen that Simpsons episode. I haven't seen a lot of Simpsons episodes. There's what, like 26 seasons? There's a lot of Simpsons episodes. But he happened to be like looking in the freezer as the nukes went off, and it just kind of sunburned him.
Yeah. Part of me wonders like if that wouldn't be more dangerous.
I mean, like sunburn is like radiation damage. Like that's what it is. So like this guy has taken radiation damage to the face. It's just on like a micro scale, probably.
I just feel like the like gamma radiation given off by a nuclear detonation might not miniaturize as well as this episode thinks it does.
Exactly, which is why it's definitely more of like a fun concept. It's also why I love the Fallout series, because this is kind of a particular thing.
Yeah.
So the idea of like the Davy Crockett and like the Fat Man and Mini Nuke and all that? It turns out when you do the math, a shoulder-fired nuke of the size of like a Fat Man would have a blast radius roughly measurable to Hiroshima. So like you're not surviving that.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, you can survive the real-life Davy Crockett. But like, I don't envy you your position.
Right.
And that was an earnest attempt to make that miniature.
Nice cock.
I did not say cock. Damn it.
So, what are we gonna rate this one? Because this one is a difficult one as well.
This one is tricky by our standards. However, I'm gonna put forward death because we see, well, it's the entirety of like human civilization playing itself out.
Yeah.
The nature of how short and frail our lives are, even on this time scale, there's a lot of death that's happening.
That's true.
There's just a lot of death.
Yeah. Ash says they loved the tiny
Love
people.
the tiny people. I read that at exactly the same time, yeah. I mean, I guess. Like, sure, technically. Why not? I don't know. I'm still gonna lean towards death.
Okay. Well, we can move on.
Sounds good.
Alternate histories.
I absolutely fucking adored how just unabashedly fun this one was.
Oh. Hope that YouTube doesn't murder me for featuring Mecha Hitler.
You know, I think it'll be okay. I may or may not move my mouse up to cover. Yeah, we'll just do that there. So, oh no, it went away. Shit. Okay, I gotta jostle it every few seconds. So you know what? Hang on, no, I can do one better. Oh shit, I don't want to. Okay, hang on. Copy. There we go. There we go. Excellent. We did it. Do you want to take a look at my stream, figure out what I did?
Oh, sure.
My stream, figure out.
Oh, I see.
Anywho, do you want to recap this one or shall I?
Why don't you go ahead?
Okay, so from what I remember, because it's been a hot minute, this one takes the kind of Kietzkazite like style informational, like sort of pseudo school style video, going through all of the potential alternate histories based on different elements of like, or different decisions that people, or like different scenarios that were made during those people's times. They specifically focus on Adolf Hitler and kill him in a myriad of entertaining ways. Particularly featured behind my crude attempt at censorship is a alternate timeline where Mecha Hitler came back to reunite with Hitler and, you know, do the whole shindig. But when they touch, it creates like a ripple in the space-time continuum that destroys the universe. And it just goes through like a handful of different hilarious scenarios. And yeah, it ultimately was a very, very funny, very, very good episode. Anything you'd care to add to that?
Well, I don't so much want to add as say my piece.
Sure.
I have a very different opinion of this episode. I hate that I have to. I want to preface this by saying that I am glad that you liked it. I by no means want to take it from you.
Sure.
But I thought this episode was kind of boring. There were some gags that really worked. I don't hate. I want to say this. I don't hate any episode of Love, Death, and Robots to my knowledge. Sure. And I'm glad that I watched all of them. But I feel like they were banking on the idea of murdering Hitler being inherently funny. And it just didn't click for me beyond a couple of the jokes. And I I really dislike that I didn't like this episode because it's the episode where they kill the guy I don't like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that takeaway for sure. I acknowledge that there really are so many ways you can kill like the mustache bastard and have it be fun.
Yeah.
But I think I also approached this episode from the angle of like, okay, I've got an open mind about this series and like what it's willing to do.
I also think that I got this episode like really early, like third or fourth.
Gotcha.
And I think that has like permanently altered my opinion of it.
Yeah.
Where I'm coming down from like some of the other comedic episodes. We haven't gotten to some of the other really good episodes yet. And I like the comedic episodes, but I prefer the more intense episodes in general. So
yeah,
this one's a bit on the downturn for me.
Okay.
I think we can both agree that the rating is probably death, though.
Death. Most certainly death.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, I concur
don't.
that I can see where the potential of like seeing Hitler just get killed in a bunch of different ways. I think I'm also the guy that spent possibly an uncomfortable amount of time in Sniper Elite V2 trying to hit his testicles. If anyone knows the mission I'm talking about, you know the mission I'm talking about.
And see, this is also all about alternate histories, which is something I like to ponder.
Sure.
So when the episode started, and it's like we're gonna be exploring alternate histories. We are the alternate history agency. I'm like, I am on board for this. And then it's like, oh, well, we're not doing that at all. We're taking the piss.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I mean, yeah.
Not a bad episode of TV. Not my favorite Love, Death, and Robots.
Sure.
Yeah. Any Anything else?
I think the one gag of this that absolutely I remember made me laugh out loud was when uh they did like Putin on the moon
Oh,
and it said first
I
real man on the moon.
I did like the recurring gag of first such and such on the moon.
Yep. That was a good gag. But yeah, that's about all I have. So
Okie doke.
moving on.
Yep.
Okay.
The Secret War.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Oh yes. Yes, I wish to remove Kronk. I'm very sorry. Okay. Okay. Um. So this one was the last one that I watched.
Yeah.
Um.
I
And
I'm pretty
go
sure
ahead.
I
Sorry.
watched them on shuffle, and this still ended up being the last one I watched
Last.
somehow.
Curious. Um. I definitely appreciated like the amount of research that went into this one and the way that like it slowly builds
Mhm.
because pretty much up to the 11th hour you're not 100% sure what's actually going on.
Yeah.
um and I definitely, all right, I guess this is time to potentially show my hand
Uh-huh.
as a writer, especially when I write horror or things of that nature. I think the kind of given writing rule that people tend to go by, which is a good rule to follow, is show, don't tell. Here's my problem. I find that horror works a lot better when you don't show. A great example for me is speaking on Netflix's offerings. Have you seen The Ritual?
Yes.
The Ritual is amazing for the first like 3/4 of it. And then you see the goofy ass monster. And it stops being intense or scary and just kind of becomes dumb. Um I went with a date to see A Quiet Place.
don't don't let him ruin it. It's actually really good.
Don't let who ruin it.
You and the ritual.
Oh, no, go. I mean, go see it. Like again, the first part of it is amazing. It is an amazing horror movie. Um, and sorry, I guess I should have checked in with chat to make sure I wasn't spoiling The Ritual. Um, I mean, I guess I haven't given terribly many details on like what it is, but basically, it gets shown to you, and it's just like, oh, okay, that's it. Um, but either way, so this one uh did a lot of the same for, or sorry, right. So I went to go see A Quiet Place on a date. And my date and I left when in the first like 5 fucking minutes you were shown in broad clear daylight what the thing is. And I I came at that with like, wow, this is going to fucking suck. Let's go get dinner cuz fuck. Um in full disclosure, I did end up like sitting down and watching it later, and it was worth the watch. But for me, again, particularly when you're writing horror, especially when it's like creatures and monsters and things of this nature, not seeing the creature itself, but seeing what the creature can do is excellent for me. Where we were seeing these towns torn to shreds, the like pieces of people just seemingly randomly strewn about, like the fear in the survivors, like that does a shitload more for me than seeing the actual creatures. So anyway, should we recap the episode? Oh, Aaron,
I'm
did
here.
we lose? Okay, I was like, did we lose you?
I'm just processing.
Okay. I mean, I didn't mean for that to be like a particularly hot take, I guess.
It's a very hot take. But that's not why I'm quiet. I just thinking.
I see. Well, lumbar puncture, you having Fantasia 2000, I can't really do anything for that now, can I? Hi, Licorice. Did that barely qualify as a joke?
But yeah, we can get into the episode.
Okay.
I I don't know. I don't know how to carry on from that. You're showing me up.
I genuinely didn't mean to show you up.
Yeah, you've been big braining me like since 4 episodes ago.
I guess. I'm sorry. If you'd like me to take the plot synopsis for this one, I can.
I feel like a Neanderthal, and not like a real Neanderthal that's like a person, but lives in Europe before Europeans existed. Like a fake pop culture Neanderthal who just got thought out.
Okay, on that note, I still can't get over the shit you said to me about watching me like edit part of the video. And for the chat, so the Ace Combat video, I let Aaron watch me like edit part of it, so that he could like learn my process and like pick up a few things here and there. And about halfway through, he starts on this tangent about asking me if I've played the new like Knights of the Old Republic Star Wars game or whatever. I don't remember exactly what it's called right now. And I haven't, so I asked kind of, why he brought it up. And he proceeds to explain to me that you are this like new Jedi on the block. You're hanging out, you're figuring out your powers, you're slowly growing, like building
yes, okay.
lightsabers.
Now I remember where this story is going. The game I was referring to was Jedi Fallen Order.
That's the one. So
for anyone who has played it, you now know why it sounds like that's what it is.
But he's asking me, or he's explaining the whole the process of this new guy like becoming a powerful Jedi and, going through this whole thing. He goes, and then Darth Vader shows up, and you can't do dick for shit against him. He's just a walking force of nature, and the only thing you can really do is run. And I'm like, okay, this sounds like pretty intense, but why are you bringing this up? And he's like, oh, this is how I feel watching you edit. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? I guess just like, you told me something about like, oh, thinking I like kind of have editing figured out, and then I'm watching you like do things that would take me hours, and I'm like, dude, you'll get there. Like, you'll fucking I learned all this shit just by goofing off. Oh, exactly. Like, you can't kill Darth Vader. You can't be fucking Force Unleashed, where you just kick the shit out of Vader for no reason. But no, like that still sits in my head as like one of my like probably my second favorite interaction with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was a poignant metaphor, but
Oh no, I got it once you explained it. I just I was trying to turn it around to be like you'll like, I'm a shitter as far as editing goes, and like you'll figure it out. But it just struck me as one of those like I guess the metaphor itself was just so out of left field that I wasn't ready for its conclusion.
Fair enough.
Right, so plot synopsis. Secret War. We're back in the Soviet Union. It's unclear, I believe, if this is happening during or like a little bit after World War II. Either way, you've got like Soviet foot soldiers, and they are investigating a group of towns in like the deep Ural Mountains that are just kind of going quiet. And it turns out that something is coming through and is just absolutely slaughtering the populations of these little cities. And as the investigation continues, we learn that it's something demonic. It was something that was summoned by Mr. Pleasant Head Carving. We'll just call him a Quentin Tarantino wannabe. Tarantino wannabe.
They explained it in the episode. Wasn't he like KGB or something?
Yeah, and he was basically trying to summon like a demon army.
Yeah.
To help like defend the motherland. Shock and awe, that did not go well. Homeboy Quentin Tarantino wannabe is killed. The puppeted like masked musketeers behind him are killed. And then the demons that he summoned are unleashing havoc on the local populations. But this like secret unit of Soviet foot soldiers are like they've tracked these creatures to their like nest, like these tunnels. So they go to like set some explosives to collapse the entrances of the tunnels and trap these creatures in the mountain. Well, that goes about as well as a Chipotle enema, as the entire cave system just kind of collapses. And it is much larger than it seems. They think like, oh, it's just a little like couple foot wide cave opening. No, this thing is several football fields stapled together that just kind of collapses in on itself. And they were thinking like one or two demons, nothing crazy. There are thousands of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, the request comes through. They're like, yeah, bomb the shit out of it. Like fuck us on the ground. Like bomb it. Just fucking bomb it. And they do. And that is why the Socialist Soviet Republic is the best nation that never came to its full fruition.
That is a hot take.
That was a joke. Just in case I need to clarify that I'm not a communist, nor do I think that communism works. That being said, I do kind of wish I still had my Soviet national anthem drop.
Well,
but
it is worth noting that they briefly discuss going and getting help from the higher ups, as it were, and the commander more or less says, no, they would probably just imprison or kill us to hide their mistake. We have to take this into our own hands.
That's right.
So it's really it really shifts the focus away from the Soviet Union and towards these individual boots on the ground type guys.
Yep.
If that was an issue for you. Yeah, this is a good one. Lots of build up. Brief but surprisingly good characterization for a couple of characters.
Yeah. No, I did, pun intended, I definitely felt the camaraderie.
Just a really cool battle scene towards the end, too.
Yeah.
And a solid death rating for this one.
Yeah, pretty hardy death on this one. Yeah. So there you have it, except we may or may not have missed one.
We did miss one in that I pushed it all the way to the back.
Shall we go to it?
The day the yogurt took over.
I think I'll let this one be yours.
This is another kind of jokey one. It's told in the past tense. Some scientists accidentally create sentient yogurt, and it turns out that the yogurt's a lot smarter than us, and we end up signing over our government to the yogurt. And they fix all of our problems because they're yogurt. and then they leave us. They leave us to our own devices, going into space. So
special shout out for We Want Ohio.
Ohio. that killed me. Just the yogurt bubbling. The reason this one is all the way here in the back is because I could not and cannot rate it under our traditional scheme. I'm giving it the rating yogurt.
I can, actually. So, all right, again, I hate to show my hand, but two things are worth noting. One, I fucking love this episode. This was absolutely up there. But it's not an original work, which is my second note. It is based on the short story of the same name. I forget the author's name right now. I'm going to feel bad if I am not giving proper credit. I want the short story, goddammit. Here it is, by author John Scalzi. And yeah, when the yogurt took over, we all made the same jokes. Finally, our rulers will have culture. Our society is curdled. Our government is now the cream of the crop, and so on. But we weren't laughing about the absurdity of it all. We looked into each other's eyes with the same unasked question. How did we ever get to the point where we were, in fact, ruled by a dairy product? Now, if that sounds familiar, again, this episode takes, like, pretty fucking straight from the source material. And I guess that leads into, God, I feel bad, especially with you giving me the whole, like, big brain thing earlier. Because do you want to know what this episode is actually about? What the short story is about?
Well, when you put it like that.
No, I'm asking, like, what do you think? What do you think it's about? And I guess I should say there's not like necessarily an objective answer about this, but what could you replace the yogurt with and it still works?
No, like, I get it. That's not really the thing, though. You know, it was a joke about how there's doesn't really fit into the other ratings surface. It was supposed to be funny, and you laugh.
Uh-huh.
And then you didn't laugh, and you're like, I read the short story. Let me get my Monaco.
You're the fucking one that invited me on for this. You knew what you were signing up for.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, I take my monocle swiftly off and I say AI. It is a short story about AI and the way that we as humans are fallible and yogurt, AI, as it were, could potentially be perceived as not, and how our reliance on technology may eventually be our downfall. Because, sure, in the episode, the yogurt gives a plan to, completely get rid of Earth's debt, entirely. It would solve it just outright. But we deviated from that plan and things got measurably worse, to the point where we signed all control over to the yogurt. And at that point, everything became better. Everything became almost a utopia, until the yogurt left to go do bigger and better things in space, as you do. But if you replace that yogurt with AI, then nothing really changes, does it? It's still something we created on accident, that we potentially trusted to do our bidding. And the only way that it could really do what it needed to do was if we gave it unfettered control of everything, to the point where it improved our lives, and then off we went.
No, like when I said that I get it, I wasn't bluffing.
I mean, I guess I didn't anticipate that you were. I was more explaining it for the audience.
There's a lot of. Do you see how if you change it, it doesn't change? do you understand? Like the audience can talk to you, but like I don't know.
No, you're right. I just I guess I'm just a ruiner of fun.
I'm gonna take my monocle off so that I can swiftly put on a pair of reading glasses.
All that said, I agree with your consensus that this episode is definitely yogurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the yogurt episode, guys.
We did it.
Aaron put it here for a joke, and Kodiak didn't.
I guess it was also kind of spoiled that you well, yeah, I guess pun intended was spoiled, but that you told me that you were putting this one at the end before we even started this.
Yeah. And
I don't know. I'm sorry. I thought people would be interested in the actual dissection of the themes of the episode.
yes,
The thing we've been doing. I didn't
yes,
expect to ruin the evening.
and so was I. But I made the joke, and you're just like, actually, your joke is wrong.
I'm very sorry then.
The silly yogurt episode. I get it, but even they played it for laughs.
You're right. I came at this too seriously, and I'm very sorry.
Go back to hitting things with a stick, like in the good
I
old
was about to
days.
say to, to move past that crushing bit.
I mean, there's nowhere to move past to. This is the last episode.
I'm acutely aware, so I guess this has been Love, Death, or Robots.
Season 1.
More goddamn bots. Yeah, it's just an excellent way to.
Why? Why does this bot even exist?
I don't know.
Who clicks on a bot that's username is sexfind.xyz?
Or sexchat69.site. And I'm just like, please, if you're in the chat, do not fucking click on these.
Like, even if that's what you're in the mood for, are there not better ways?
You would think. Okay. All right. Those are taken care of. Hey, YouTube. Since I was so kind and censored to the best of my abilities the swastika earlier, you feel like taking care of the very obvious bots? Appreciate it. As like an F tier YouTuber, I would appreciate that.
F minus minus.
This. I mean, that would just be my luck, wouldn't it? That Trogdor comes along and burninates my channel.
You were doing a review show and you showed a swastika once. Prepare to die.
Yeah, again, that would just be my luck, wouldn't it?
At least I didn't include any nudity. There was plenty of that that I had to sort through to make these.
Definitely could have been a lot more explicit depictions and screenshots. Plenty of that in this show.
But
Oh.
yeah, I don't know what to do from there. That's pretty much it. We're gonna do the same, but for season 2, sometime in the future.
At some point.
Uh,
I am looking forward to that one, and I will do what I can to not completely fucking ruin the joke at the end. I'm very sorry, man. Well, yeah, should we call it there?
Yeah.